just waiting for you to do, to do, to do,
I've been wearing Sperry boat shoes since I was a kid, and my dad did too. Whenever we would fish, my pops was always in his Sperry's, and so was I. They have the best boat shoes on the planet. There's really no competition. So use our exclusive code BFC20 to shop now and get 20% off your purchase of $99 or more. Offer is valid till September 1st. Again, that code is BFC20. Go check them out. Where's your beginning in terms of this journey from being a kid that just loved fishing to now a person who's competing on a college level with this sport?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a longer story, I guess, than you would think. Both my dad and my granddad fished a lot. Just they both just an outdoorsy family, and they fished a lot when I was probably around 9 or 10 years old, and I decided I was going to save up for a kayak and start fishing just like local ponds and lakes. And saved up for a while, bought that kayak, and then really fell in love with it. Started fishing like some of the local KBF stuff or just like kayak bass fishing tournaments. And did that for a really long time from like 12, 13 to like all the way to 18 years old, I would say. I fished kayak stuff and then just local stuff around the house. My dad had a little tiny tin rig that I would take out and fish. But I'd say it got really serious as far as like traveling every weekend to fish tournaments and like getting really invested, getting my own boat around college. I throughout high school kept up with like all the college fishing. We didn't have a high school team. I went to a small school in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I wasn't able to join like a high school bass team to fish like Bassmaster events. So, but I still kept up with.
Let me ask you this real quick, because I was going to ask you about the high school team thing. So are there like scouts like there are in other college sports, or is it pretty much like if you do well in those high school tournaments, you kind of get looks from that?
Basically that's correct. If you do well in tournaments, you'll get good looks from that. There's a company out now called NSR Fishing, which it's like a program you can sign up for, and they are kind of like scouts for high school fishing. They kind of connect you with college teams, but that's a newer thing. Since before that, there wasn't much in the way of, I guess, scouts. It's more just connections, tournament results, and meeting people through the industry as far as getting on teams.
Right. So is that company that's coming up for the scouting thing? Are they like charging kids like a fee for them to help you, or are they just?
Yeah, it's like a subscription based thing.
Okay, interesting. What's the name of that? I want to check that out.
NSR Fishing.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's pretty. Let me just say, like, as somebody who grew up playing, a sport like lacrosse, which is, a team sport, is obviously way different than fishing, and everything that went into getting scouted, like junior, senior year, going to play Division I. I'm really trying to look at this from a lens of like a college athlete myself and see what like the differences and the similarities are between the both of them. So I think that's pretty cool that they're starting to scout kids in high school. Definitely.
Yeah, and it varies by team too. Like,
has anyone gone straight from high school to professional? Like LeBron or Kobe?
There's guys who are professionals who didn't fish in college, but there's no one that I know of, at least, that came straight out of high school and went straight into the opens or let's say MLF and qualified. I can't think of anyone specifically like that, but I know plenty of people who just didn't go to college or fish college fishing.
Gotcha.
But no one that I can think of that came directly out of high school and just straight to the pros. Most go into college.
How many college teams or how many colleges have fishing teams?
A bunch of them. Pretty much all the SEC schools, all the northern schools you can think of have teams. A lot of the good teams are smaller schools because they put scholarship money towards it. So like there's tons of local colleges in Alabama that have teams. Like all the Tennessee colleges have teams. There's tons of them. Pretty much everything on the east side of the United States, every school has a team, just about.
And so where do they source the coaches from?
Well, that varies per team. Like Auburn itself is student ran. We do not have a coach. Like we have a student body that runs our team, who's in charge of getting scholarships. So I'm really not honestly sure because we haven't dealt with that at all.
Do you guys have captains?
We have a president, a vice president, just like a student
Gotcha.
body.
Gotcha.
The way we work is each year we elect certain officials, and they're in charge of raising money for the team, scheduling our tournaments, doing stuff like that, booking hotels, pretty much just like they do what the coach does, but you're not paid.
They're pretty much producing whatever event you guys are about to take place in, and it's the kids on the team that are doing that, right?
Yeah, all kids.
That's a great life skill right there.
Yeah, like we started a YouTube series this year. We go down to ICAST, obviously, where I met you. We're the only college team that goes down there each year. So we do for not having a coach. We do a lot for trying to market ourselves and really sell our team and just our individual brands.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you too, like, so if you guys are run by the students, right, and by the players, if you guys can you lock down sponsorships? Like, can you guys get money for your team through companies? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, that's how we raise all our money for our that and raising money ourselves is all through sponsors. We probably have 20 something wrapped boats, and what we do is we'll sell all our sponsorship spots to these individual companies, and that's how we raise a lot of money for our team. We have a bunch of sponsors like Berkeley, Abu Garcia, Realtree, Under Armour. They're all huge sponsors of ours that really help us travel. I mean, if it wasn't for the support we get from them, it literally would be impossible. We don't receive any money from the school, so it's all raised by us and given to us by our sponsors.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's nice, especially for guys that are, I guess, looking at going into like Fish That Opens or want to make a career out of it. Just having being able to get the skill set of talking with companies and understanding those kind of business relationships in college, I think is pretty beneficial. And there's a lot of teams too that like I said, that have coaches and they don't do that kind of stuff. Like that's all left up to their coach, and they get funding from the school and stuff like that. So it can be seen as a negative by a lot of people, like, oh, Auburn doesn't have a coach. Like it's a lot more work, but I don't know. It's nice. I definitely wouldn't trade it.
Especially if you guys have the structure of president, vice president, different kids with different roles, and you guys are all making it happen. I mean, that's number one, great teamwork. Again, that's so many good things right there, as opposed to, the other side of it, which is the coach just handles all of it, which, gives the athletes more time to think about fishing. But I don't know. I think you guys are the way you're doing it. I would definitely rather have that.
Yeah, it's nice. And there's a lot of teams that have say you're a freshman coming into a fish for a team with a coach. They have the option to kind of say what you can fish and what you can't fish, or send certain players or certain fishermen to certain events, where for Auburn it's kind of you want to go fish a tournament every single weekend of the year, you can go. It doesn't matter, more the merrier.
So you're saying that kids that would compete on the Auburn team where there is no coach, you guys would have more opportunities to fish than as opposed to a team with a coach, where the coach is kind of oh no, this kid has to go fish that. I don't know. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we have no restrictions on what you can fish.
And you guys have a lot of kids on the team, right? It's over 200 kids, I think you said.
Not 200. We have around 80 members on the team.
Oh, where did I get 200 from? I don't know.
No worries. We got 80 is still a bunch. That's one of the bigger.
Yeah, definitely.
If I'm not mistaken, one of the bigger, if not the biggest, college teams. But as far as really active members that are going to every single event, I would say we've got 30 guys that are really invested.
And out of those 30 guys, you think every one of them is trying to go pro with this?
No, I would say as far as looking to do it for a career, there's at least 8 to 10 guys that are really serious about it.
Are you one of them?
Really like to fish. Yes, yeah, I definitely want to do it for a career. That's my number one goal.
What was your first tournament win before Auburn? What was the first tournament you won where you were you know what? I'm going to see how I could flip this into a full-time career one day?
Probably Fort Loudon. I mean, just local tournaments when I was younger was when I really found like the love for it. And then going to college and getting to go to all the different lakes and kind of compete against a new field and just like get a feel for all the different lakes really showed me that like this is something I want to do. And it's what I'm passionate about.
So what year are you right now?
I'll be a senior this coming year.
And when did you become VP of the club or of the team, I should say?
This was this year. So this coming year I'll be
nice. And everybody on the team like takes a vote on who that's going to be. Who's going to
Yeah,
be
we have like team meetings on campus where everyone will show up, and then you give like we'll have elections each year, so everyone writes up a big speech and you give it in front of the team, and then everyone votes on who they want.
How many other teammates were you up against for that role?
I think 3 maybe. I think there's 3 total.
So this also teaches like, you know, how to network with people, how to get people on your side. So when it comes time for a vote, you know, you get that role. This is so cool to me. This is so cool to me.
Our layout definitely favors like I would say like the relationship side of fishing, like especially going to ICAST too. Like,
and that's so great for business down the line, you know, because
like,
business is all about relationships.
Yeah, you can do well in tournaments all you want, but anyway, that's obviously most important, being able to fish well. But if you're not like social or like a personable person, I think you can miss out on a lot. That's at least what I've experienced through ICAST. Like people that are putting themselves out there a lot more in fishing, or at least in college fishing, even regardless of how they've been in tournaments. I feel like you get a lot more exposure and just a lot more experience that way.
Definitely. What accomplishments are you and the team looking to get this year?
Well, our biggest one obviously is School of the Year. So just the conglomerate of all the points over the entire season that decides the best team in the country. That's our number one goal. That's what we shoot for every year.
And how do you get points?
It's based on your best 2 finishes or finishes at each event and throughout the entire season. And then the conglomerate of all those points determines who the best team is.
But so I mean, you get the points like for catching the fish, right? For catching largemouth.
Yeah.
So like, what's like a 5-pound largemouth? Like, how many points is that?
Well, it varies. It's all based on how everyone does.
Oh, okay.
Like, let's say you have a tournament, and Auburn had a 2nd place finisher. Their best 2 finishes in the tournament out of 200 boats was a 2nd place and 8th place. You'll get a certain amount of points for those 2 finishes, and the higher your placements are, the more points you get. And that continues throughout the entirety of the season. And the team with the most points at the end of the year is considered team of the year.
So that's like the Super Bowl of the whole thing.
Yeah, that's like the big. That's one of the biggest. That's pretty much one of the biggest trophies you can win. That there's team of the year, angler of the year, and then of course like the Bassmaster College National Championship, which is a big one as well.
Has any team ever brought home all 3 in one year?
Not in my time in college fishing, no.
What year would you say this that college fishing like this really took off? Or like really started, I should say. Not took off, really started.
There's some Elite Series pros that kind of started it up. I'd say like around 2010-ish, if I'm correct. That's not the exact year. I think it's like between 2010 2013.
Okay.
I believe is when college fishing really started taking off. There's a couple pros that made it to the elites out of the college circuit, and it really started building after that. From Auburn, like Jordan Lee and Matt Lee brothers, I'm not sure. I'm sure you've heard of them. You follow professional fishing, but they came straight out of Auburn within like 2 years. They were in the elites fishing, so it's become a big thing. There's a lot of pros.
How many pros have come out of your program?
There's Steve Kennedy, Matt Lee, Jordan Lee are the 3 that I can think of right off the top of the bat that are all, I mean, huge names in fishing, especially the Lee brothers. I mean, they're still 20-something years old, just about, and they're legends already.
So, who is your biggest competitor?
Biggest competitor as far as like School of the Year is Montevallo. That's our biggest rival every year. It's a smaller college, also in Alabama. They're in Birmingham, so about 2 hours from us.
Does it go back and forth? Like some years you win it, a few years they win it, or is it lopsided?
As of now, they've won the last few years. They've been the most dominant team. A lot of that comes from their ability to recruit players as opposed to us because we can't offer scholarship until this year, thanks to Logan Parks. He donated a bunch of his winnings from his $1 million tournament win. So we do now offer scholarships, but
that was so
smaller
cool of
schools have
him.
a lot of draw when it comes to recruiting players.
Do they have a coach?
Yes, they have a coach.
Interesting. So I'm sure they must have more than one coach then, because usually on a college team, it's like, you got a head coach, assistant coaches, who knows? Maybe they do. I don't know.
I know they have a coach though.
Who televises college fishing? Like where can people watch it?
Well, there's different series that are like there's different like Major League Fishing and then Bassmaster. So there's 2 different series, but they both broadcast on like FX1, Fox Sports 1.
What is a win, or maybe like 1 or 2 wins over the course of your college career that you're most proud of, and why?
I would say tournaments that I'm most proud of. I'd say national championship last year, at least for my personal finishes. We went to St. Lawrence River, which is, one of the best fisheries in the country. But I've never been up north before or experienced, I guess, northern smallmouth fishing. And me and my partner, Sam, had a good finish in that. We came 6th in the national championship. And that was out of like a 1990s 17-foot Ranger with like a 115. We filled up our gas tank like twice a day during the tournament to fish. It was so small, but that was probably my most proud win, just given the location and the tools I was using, or not win, but tournament finish.
Fishing can go one of 2 ways. Like, there can be a lot of haters, or people can just all be on the same page. So I don't know. Has there ever been, any competition amongst other fishermen from other schools that maybe not even with you, or just that you've seen where like maybe there was a little actual real beef there?
There's always just like arguments and stuff like that. There's a lot of dock talk too. Like at tournaments, you'll have guys come in saying they're not catching anything. Then tournament day, they come and weigh in biggest bag of the tournament. So there's as far as like psychological stuff, there's tons of that. Just like at the dock talking about like throughout practice.
Yeah, tell me more about this. I really want to hear about this.
Yeah, so it's a team. Like it's obviously a team sport. Like you're competing with the team. Like obviously, I want my teammates to do well, like at Auburn. But you kind of have to have like even within your team, you have to have like your group of guys that you can really confide with and trust what people are saying. Because if you just kind of go around talking to people like throughout tournament practice, like you're talking to your teammates, like how's practice going? It's hard to trust everybody because you are a team, but you're still competing for an individual finish. So people aren't always super forward when it comes to telling people what you're doing. So you kind of have to have your like close clique of people that you can seriously trust to talk about what's going on. Yeah, there's a lot of that leading up to the tournament.
Tell me more about the dock talk and how guys say, "Oh, I didn't catch this." Like, what are some other moves that you've seen? Like,
it's a lot of low balling. Mostly you'll go around, talk to everybody, and be like, "So, what are you catching?" Every single person there say they're not catching anything.
So that's kind of like par for the course. Like I'm sure you're doing it too, then, huh?
Oh yeah, everybody.
Okay, got you.
Everybody's doing it. No, it's very rarely you come in during practice and you're like, "Hey, did you catch them today?" And they're like, "Yeah, we smashed them."
And they're right over there.
Yeah, and they're right there. Come follow us tomorrow. that doesn't happen much, honestly. And you can't blame people. No one wants to give away their spots. They're out there working for 2+ days.
What about this? Does anybody ever roll up on like another team and like mug their spot and like try to fish their spot while they're fishing it already, and then maybe there's words back at the dock after, like anything like that? Or is there like a level of etiquette that's respected?
There is a level of etiquette at the tournaments that's pretty respected. I will say, as far as the college bass field goes, I think everyone's pretty respectful. I personally have never had any experiences that were like insane where I'm like, I can't believe that guy came so close to me and fished my spot. Like that was insanely rude. I've never had any experiences like that fishing college. I have at plenty of other tournaments, but I do have a bunch of buddies on the team and at other teams who I've heard getting in just like pissing matches with other guys at the dock after about like you'll have tournaments like Pickwick where it's a big offshore derb. It's going to be one offshore. and you'll have every single boat in the tournament fishing offshore, and it's just bumper boats. So some tournaments are worse than others, where you'll have guys pulling up on you and fishing, but it does happen. I'll say that college bass is pretty good about it, though, from my experience.
That's good to know that at least the kids are doing it right. In terms of those offshore tournaments, you're talking about offshore lake tournaments?
Yes, sir.
What qualifies an offshore? Because to me, when I hear offshore, I'm thinking about going out for tuna in the Hudson Canyon, stuff like that. So I've never heard offshore used up until this very conversation in relation to a lake.
Yeah, when I say offshore, I mean like not fishing visible structure on the bank. Like you're going out with your electronics and you're idling all day, looking at down scan and side imaging and trying to find fish and structure on your electronics. The two factors that really affect it are the size of the fishery, how the fishery sets up, like how many spots is there that you can genuinely catch fish off of that are available to fish.
Yeah.
And then how many boats are in the tournament. Like if you go to Pickwick Lake, we had, I think it was like 200 something boats that are at our collegiate national championship up there this year. And I mean, there's stuff offshore when you're fishing, like on a contour map. There's stuff that sticks out more than others. Like you got a hard channel swing on a river ledge. That's a spot that everyone's going to graph. Like specific areas like main lake humps and stuff like that everyone's going to graph. And you're going to have 12 people find a school. You find a school of fish, there's probably 12 other people that have already found it. So it comes to tournament day. It's a lot of it's just timing and hitting it at the right spot. But you will be competing with boats in tournaments where it's going to be one offshore. It's a small fishery. There's tons of boats. It's hard to keep stuff to yourself.
So what would you say the top 3 most important things to prepare for before a tournament are?
Research, preparation, execution. So let's say you're going to a new lake you've never been to before. First thing I always do is research. I'll go look at Bassmaster tournament results. More than likely, there's been major tournaments at the lake you're fishing before. So you can go back, on YouTube and stuff. There's a wealth of videos you can watch just learning about the lake. You can look at tournament results, see what your expected weight is you need to catch. Let's say you're fishing Eufaula in August, and it's historically taking 18 pounds to win each tournament in August. You kind of know what weight you need. You can see kind of generally how these people caught fish out there. Like in August, it's an offshore deal. It's taking 18 pounds. You can kind of get a feel for what you need to have to win the tournament. And then as far as preparation, just making sure your boat's in working order. Like make sure your engine's serviced, all your bolts are tightened, everything's working as it should. Make sure you have all the baits you need too. Just having all your gear in line is really important, just so you can go out there and fish stress-free, not have to deal with all this other BS, like stuff not working. And then just execution, getting out there and actually setting the hook on some fish and bringing them in the boat. That's the most important part, but actually catching them. But that's kind of like my checklist whenever I'm going to a tournament.
Is there any specific type of music you're listening to beforehand? Like, are you getting hyped up? Like what's going into the psychological side of the whole thing?
There's a healthy amount of rap music that gets played. Future, Gunna, and Moneybagg Yo have fueled pretty much every tournament this year.
What's the biggest fish you've ever lost in a tournament?
Well, well over 8 pounds.
How do you handle like that happening where you're just like, I could have blown everybody away, like even if I landed half of those that I lost? Like how do you do you laugh that off, or how do you deal with that?
I'd say the correct way to deal with it is to just brush it off and keep fishing. Definitely the highest of highs and the lowest of lows.
It's crazy.
It is an absolute emotional roller coaster.
Then you add adrenaline and people are like, yeah, it's addicting, huh? And it's like, no, I'm actually like legitimately addicted to this. Like, I'm thinking about starting the first like fishing rehab, because I'm sure some guys really do need rehab for fishing, especially these guys that buy these Vance stall reels up here in the Northeast. How can high school kids who have zero access to a high school fishing team, like let's say a kid in Brooklyn, how could that kid work his way onto a college team? Like, would he or she just have to get like good grades and also be good at fishing? Like, would he have to put together like a video reel of like him catching some big fish? Like, how would that work?
Yeah, well, the good thing about college fishing is you don't have to fish in high school to fish in college. As long on our team, this may vary for other teams. You do not have. There is no requirements to join our team besides being a student at Auburn. You don't have to have a boat. You don't have to have anything. You just have to be a student. So the
So
biggest thing is
Auburn's a
grades.
pretty tough school to get into, though, right?
Yeah, it is. It is fairly difficult to get into for out of state kids. But like I said, I'm out of state. I wasn't a genius in high school by any means, and I got in. So I mean, it's extremely doable.
But when you were
But if
trying
you,
to get in, did you say like I'm trying to fish here?
yeah, yes, I did. I did make a note I wanted to fish there. I went and got in contact with guys who were on the team prior to getting accepted, and just was kind of like, hey, I want to come down there and fish for y'all. Just got some information from them and applied. Came to the first interest meeting and met my partner. Really got into it. I sold all my kayaks and bought and worked a job for a few years and bought just this beater old boat and fished out of that for a year and then upgraded after that. But as long as you have good grades and like I said, you fish a lot, you don't have to fish high school bass, just as long as you'd like to fish and are out there and have, I guess, the motivation. If you have the motivation to go out and learn and get better at fishing and you have the grades to get into a college, you'll do just fine in college fishing. And also social media too. Having a big social media presence, like having followers on whether it be TikTok or Instagram, or just like having people that look at your content that's related to fishing is always a bonus. Because with our team especially, we're trying to get sponsors and we're trying to raise money so we can go to these tournaments. If we see a guy that's going around and he's fishing all the BFLs and stuff, but he's also posting like on social media frequently, he's putting out content, he has connections with people in the fishing industry, stuff like that. Like that's important, and we look for that kind of stuff. But like I said, there's no requirements. There's just stuff you can do to better prepare yourself for when you get here. We have people on the team from all different skill levels. There's people who don't know how to cast a bait caster, and there's people that have been fishing competitively since they physically could. So I mean, there's all different levels of skill level. There's plenty of people on the team that don't have a boat, and I mean, you just as long as you can find a partner that has one, it's fine, and you can start fishing. But yeah, there's all different skill levels, and the biggest thing is once you get there, like you get what you put into it. Like if you go there, you make friends with all the guys on the team, you go fishing with them, whether it's out of their boat or yours. I mean, you learn a lot from them. So your skill level starting out really doesn't matter. I mean, it matters, but doesn't matter as much as long as you have the drive to get better. Because once you get to the team, once you get to the school, you make friends with everybody on the team. You learn a lot from them. So it's kind of like community as far as fishing goes, and we learn a lot from each other. So I always try to like tell people to not steer clear of college fishing just because you're worried about how successful you'll be. Like everybody sucks at everything when they first start out. So there's no reason not to, especially at Auburn.
How do team members go about finding their partners to fish with?
Oh yeah. No, it's all social. I mean, we have interest meetings and like we have like team bonding parties, I guess, or just like get-togethers as a team. So a lot of it's just like actually showing up to the meetings, getting together, meeting people. Like I didn't know Sam before college fishing. I showed up. I fished. It was my freshman year. I fished with just some guy that I kind of knew decently who was on the team, and we fished a few tournaments out of his boat. And then I got one of my own. I switched partners, fished with just one of my buddies who wasn't even on the team, and he signed up and started fishing with me. And then just through fishing for a little while, I got to know Sam, and we fished a few times together. And my partner at the time backed out on me at right before a tournament, and I hit Sam up, and I was like, "Hey man, like I'm short a partner. Do you care to come fish this event with me?" He's like, "Yeah, let's do it." And he came. We had a really good finish, and we were like, "All right, well, let's just keep fishing together." I liked how we fished together. It's really just meeting people though, like meeting people socially, fishing with them, whether it's for fun or in a tournament, and just seeing kind of how you vibe together. It's like if your styles of fishing, how they collaborate.
How often are you fishing for fun, or is the whole thing fishing for fun?
Man, it's all fun, honestly. And that's the whole. If you're fishing and it's not fun for you, you don't need to be doing it. Because if it's not fun, you're not getting anything out of it. But as far as fishing goes, I'll probably fish on average like 5 days a week. But practice wise, like 5 days a week, whether it's tournament or for fun, that's just kind of what I try and average 4 to 5 days. But depending on the size of the tournament, like if it's a giant tournament, I might go down and fish 4 full days before the tournament to practice, or I might go down and fish 2. I might not fish at all, and I might just show up and fish. It all just depends on where the tournament is, how much experience I think I have. Just it depends on factors, but anywhere from 1 to 4 days of practice.
Have you ever gotten skunked in a tournament?
Hell yeah, I've gotten skunked in a tournament.
Is that like a normal thing?
I mean, everybody does it.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, like does that happen to everybody?
Yeah, everybody does it. Everyone's gonna, no matter how good you are, you're always gonna have a bad tournament. You might have a season where you go through and you dominate, but you're never gonna do good at every tournament for the rest of your life.
So how much luck is involved in winning these tournaments?
Luck is obviously involved, but you have to put yourself in a position to be lucky. You can't, I mean, there's guys, if you look at the tournaments, there's dudes that statistically get luckier way more than others. And that's because of what they're doing to prepare. It's because of the time they put on the water. It's because of a whole mess of factors. But
time on the water is probably one of the biggest.
Time on the water is the number one biggest factor in your success rate. If you're not fishing as much as other people, you won't do as well as other people. And that's that is 100% fact. Can't get around it. You got to put your time in on the water. But luck does play. Like I said, I mean, you get lucky. That's just how it goes. But you got to know where to be and when to be to get lucky. So there's a lot of preparation. There's a lot of time that goes into it. Understanding the fishery. I mean,
have you had days where Sam has like crushed it and you've gotten skunked and vice versa?
Oh yeah. So there's been our Norman tournament this year is the perfect example of it. We had it's a 2-day tournament. It's one of the regular series Bassmaster events. And this is before we qualified for the national championship this year. And you have to finish, and to qualify, the way this works is there's 4 normal season events. You have to finish in the top 10% at one of those events to qualify. We fished the first tournament, got like 50th out of 250, didn't make the top 10%. Second tournament's at Lake Norman. First day of the tournament, we wake up and Sam's like throwing up everywhere, like is horribly ill. And he's like, I've definitely got food poisoning. Like he looked like he was going to die. And I was like, dude, just stay in the hotel. Like, don't come. Like, you look like you need to go to a doctor. he was like, no, dude, like I'm coming. Like, if you do well and I'm not there, I won't qualify. It'll just be you. So like, I'm coming. And he came the first day.
He's like, I don't care if I die on the boat, bro. Like,
he's like, I don't give a shit.
I'm placing.
Yeah, he's like, I'm coming for the ride. So he came first day of the tournament. This man maybe made 5 casts. I mean, he probably threw up over 20 times. So I felt horrible for him. Like, he was literally dying in the boat. And I caught a 5-pounder in the last like 45 minutes of the tournament that saved our first day. And we were sitting in like 15th or something out of 200 boats. And I was like, all right, good first day. I caught all the fish. He was literally curled up on the floor all day throwing up, like felt horrible. Next day we wake up, going to day 2. He feels fine. He's like, I'm good to go. Like, we're going to go fish. We went out there and we both like collectively caught a limit for around like 10 pounds. And then it was once again, last hour of the tournament, and Sam caught like a 4.5-pound spot on a chatterbait that really like pushed us up there, and way bigger than any fish I've caught that day. So it goes back and forth. There's days where I'll have a worse day and Sam will catch him. There's days where he'll have a bad day and I'll catch him. And there's days where we'll both have a great day, and there's days where we'll both have a horrible day. So it goes back and forth.
Where are most of these guys on the team coming from? Like, what areas?
Most of them are all from Alabama. A lot of Birmingham kids, a lot of Alabama kids, a lot of kids from the South. But I mean, we have a dude on the team from Canada. We have a guy on the team from Zimbabwe, Africa. Like, there's people that come from all over. We got kids from California, like everywhere. But majority-wise, Birmingham area, Alabama is where it's the biggest. It also goes back to like when we were talking about skill level on the team. Like, you come to the team, and we've got people who have fished pretty much every type of fishery you can fish. So like there's just so much wealth of like knowledge to learn from. Like we've got northern guys, we've got West Coast guys. Like there's so many people that you can get valuable information from. Like college and high school fishing will be the next generation of professional fishermen. Every student owns their boat individually. I mean, if you don't have a boat, you can find a partner on the team. Like if I came to Auburn without a boat, I can find someone who's looking for a co-angler who has a boat, so I can fish with him out of his. For the most part, there's always a dominant role. Like usually the boat owner is doing a lot of like the immediate decision making, but it's still a two-man sport. Like I'm relying on my partner to put fish in the boat, and he's relying.
Have you seen any drama with people where it's like the guy that owns the boat isn't that good at fishing, and he finds somebody that's really good at it, and everybody is like, yo, like they're winning, but it's just because like what's his name sucks and owns a boat, and his partner's really good. Like, have you seen that happen?
Yeah, I mean, no, there's definitely teams out there that have one guy that's like historic or like widely known as an exceptional fisherman,
and the other guy's just like the boat driver, like cameraman,
and the other guy's like there, but it's hard to tell. You're not in the boat with them. You can't really see what's going down at each tournament. So I never.
Oh, dude, I know you're trying to be politically correct right now and not catch any backlash from the community, but come on, we can talk about this shit. We can talk about this. Let's keep it real. I mean, that has to happen, right? It's got to happen.
It happens. It happens.
All right.
24/7. I'm fishing a school and with no cover around. My first cast would pretty much always be a hair jig or a swim bait. But let's say I'm fishing dead of August, they're stacked up on a brush pile with like heavy cover. I might throw a big jig or a big worm or something in there that I can keep in the strike zone a little longer, keep it around that cover, as opposed to something where I'm ripping it by.
How often do you find yourself throwing Texas rigged Senkos?
I'll throw Senko pretty often. More of a weightless guy when it comes to Senko. In the spawn, that's huge. I mean, in the spawn, that's one of the biggest money makers there is. If they're up shallow or getting on bads.
What's your favorite color Senko for the spawn?
I'm a big green pumpkin guy.
Absolutely. If you aren't, you don't know what's good.
Yeah, I like to keep it el natural. I also like Morning Dawn too. Like the pinkish worms for out deep are pretty good.
You use Kitex a lot?
Yeah, I use Kitex a good bit, especially in like the fall and stuff like that.
So are you guys filming every tournament? Like, do you guys have GoPros running?
Yeah, so we last season was actually our first year doing this, but every year we hire a cameraman to come to all our Bassmaster events. It's just for documenting our stuff, promoting our sponsors, and just kind of showing people what we do at all the tournaments and keeping them informed on how we're doing as a team. But yeah, it's called the Reclamation Series on YouTube. If you ever want to check it out, Auburn University Bass Fishing Team YouTube page.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, you have to check it out. But yeah, we do that every year. Say we had Brandon Feen, who's now a Bass Live cameraman for Bassmaster at the Elites. He was ours last year. And then this year I have one of my good buddies he grew up with me in Knoxville, Ben Scavara, and he comes with us to all our events and does our filming. It's been fun.
So you fishing tomorrow?
I'm fishing once we get off this podcast. I'm hooking the boat up and going to the lake.
All right, cool. Go do it, man. This was great. Thank you for calling in to the BSC podcast, and we'll be in touch, man.
Just waiting for you to do